All right, guys, welcome to your study guide for our first quiz in this unit. Question number 1, what is a quadratic function? It is a polynomial with the highest power being 2. Okay, so that's what a quadratic is. It's a polynomial where the highest power is 2. Simple enough. Let's take a look at number 2. What is the graph of a quadratic function called? It's called a parabola. Number 3. Identify what each of the following points are called. So -1, 0, and 3, 0. That would be these 2 points here. And those are called roots. They're also called x-intercepts. They're also referred to as the zeros. The next point up here would be 0, -3. That's this point right here, and that's the y-intercept. Finally, we have 1, -4, which is this point down here, and that's the vertex. Oops. Number 4. Which of the following is a quadratic function? Well, we're looking for functions where the highest power is a 2. So that would be this one. It has a highest power of being 2. And this one, it has a highest power of being 2. Number 5 says, which of the quadratics in number 4 is in vertex form? That would be option C. This guy is in vertex form. We talked about 2 forms of the quadratic that we'll be looking at. Quadratics can come in other forms, but the 2 main forms we'll be looking at is this one, which is called the vertex form, and also this one, which is called the standard form. This one is in standard form, but the answer number 5 is vertex form, so that would be option C. All right. Let's take a look at number 6. We want to graph this. The opposite of that number is 4. This number, we don't do an opposite. We keep it the same. And those 2 things put together give us the vertex of our parabola. This guy here tells us, since it is a positive 2, that we have a happy face parabola. And that's enough to get a pretty decent graph. I'm going to plot my vertex here at 4, 5. And then we'll draw a happy face parabola at that point. Number 7, we're missing some numbers here, but we can fill those in. The A is a -1. The H is a 4. The K is not there, so that means it's 0. So my vertex in this case would be 4, 0. Don't forget to make the H an opposite sign. And then since we have a negative A value, that means we have a sad face parabola. So if I were to graph this, 4, 0 would be located here. That's my vertex. And if I drew a sad face parabola from there, that would look like that. Number 8. This one, we're missing the H value, so if you wanted to rewrite it, when H is missing, we can assume that that is 0. So therefore, my vertex would be 0, 4. And since we have a negative A value, once again, it's a sad face. So if I were to plot this, 0, 4 is located here, and the sad face would look like that. I'm going to skip number 9 because I'm going to do number 10, and number 10 is a lot like number 9, so I'll do 10. I'll let you guys do 9. Find the y-intercept for this. The way that you find a y-intercept is by plugging 0 in for x. From there, you're just going to solve. 0 take away 4 is negative 4. Negative 4 raised to the second power is 16. 2 times 16 is 32. And then 32 plus 5 is 37. And that's where we would be touching the y-axis, the y-intercept for that particular quadratic. Take a look at number 12. Find the equation of the parabola with the vertex negative 4, 1 that contains the point negative 6 and negative 3. So we start off with our little formula here. The numbers from the vertex give us the h and the k. These other 2 points are any random x and y values. So if I plug those in where they go, I will plug the h in here, I will plug the k in here, I will plug the x in here, and the y value in here. So putting all those numbers where they belong, I would have the following. Notice this little area right here in particular. The formula gives us a negative, but I'm plugging a negative in, and so we end up having minus a negative there. All right, so now we get to simplify this and solve for a. So we have minus a negative 4. That means plus 4. And so negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. Now I'm going to rewrite that as 4a, just so it looks more like a regular algebra equation. We're going to subtract 1. And then if I divide both sides by 4, I get a equals negative 1. Then we're going to return to our equation here. And this time I'm going to plug the a in for the a, and then I'm going to plug the h and k in. But I won't do anything with the x and y. And that's going to give me my final answer there. Now we can simplify this a little bit. First of all, we don't really need the 1. We do need the negative there, but we can get rid of the 1. Second of all, the double negatives, we can rewrite that as a positive. And this is the simplest way of writing the answer. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at number 14. I'm going to solve this equation. I'm going to add 30 first. You get rid of the number outside the parenthesis first. Do your addition or subtraction if you have any. So I did that. The next thing is to do your division if you have any. Once all the numbers that are outside of the square root are gone, you're ready to take a square root. And when you take a square root, you're going to cancel on this side, leaving you just the x plus 6. And on the other side, we get a plus and a minus square root of 45. Now we need to simplify that square root of 45. I'll do that work over here on the right side of the board. What times what makes 45? Well, that would be 9 times 5. And 9 is 3 times 3. And so we have 2 3s and a 5. For every pair, we could take 1 out. And so we're left with 3 radical 5 as a simplified answer. And so this comes out to be x plus 6 is equal to plus or minus 3 radical 5. The next thing we're going to do is minus the 6 on both sides, but you can't really combine that 6 with anything on the right side, so we'll just put it in front. The reason we can't combine it is because the other number has a square root on it, and so they're not possible to be combined. If this other number was just a normal number, we could add the 6 to it, but we can't. So at this case, you're going to want to probably split it up, because I think even though I like writing it the way I did there, I'm pretty sure in the test they're going to write it as 2 separate equations, so I don't want you to be confused by that. And there you guys go. Let's take a look at number 16. Same thing, get rid of the outside numbers first. Addition or subtraction is our first move in that process. Then division. Square root. Now 6 doesn't break down. If you were to break apart 6, you get a 2 and a 3. There's no pairs. And so we'll just leave it the way that it appears there. So what we'll do now is just add the 3 to the other side. And we get 3 plus or minus the square root of 6. Can't add anything together there, so we're done. But once again on the test, I think they're going to write them as 2 separate answers. 3 plus the square root of 6 and 3 minus the square root of 6. All right, we'll do, I think, one more problem. Once again, get rid of the numbers on the outside here. Then we take our square root. Got a plus and a minus square root of negative 19. Now, when we have a negative under the square root, we like to cross that off and put an I there. And then after that, we'll go ahead and you would try to break down your square root if you can, but 19 doesn't break apart, and so there's no pairs for me to take out, so I could skip that step, and we're ready to go ahead and just add 5 on both sides. And I get 5 plus or minus I square root 19. That's an imaginary number. And so our two answers will be 5 plus and minus I, square root of 19. All right, that'll be your quiz for tomorrow. See you guys then.